All right, let's take a look again at conversion with some decimal numbers, but this time let's use some of our metric units. So when we take a look at this, I'm trying to change 2.5 or 2 and 5 tenths meters into centimeters. Doesn't matter what our conversion is, the first thing that we have to know for any conversion is we have to know what the relationship is between the two units. So I know offhand that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. Now, if you notice, every time I've always been writing it in the same way so that I can just do the easy conversion. So to get from here to here, I'm multiplying by 100. All right, so that's what I want to do. Same thing that I'm going to do with the 2 and 5 tenths. So I've got 2 and 5 tenths. I'm multiplying it by 100. Now, the nice thing about the metric system is everything is always set up to multiply by 10, 100, 1,000, some sort of multiple by 10. And if you remember back to how we worked with decimals, we already know the shortcut for multiplying decimal numbers, or really any number, with a 10, 100, or 1,000, a multiple of 10. And that's very simple. Take a look at it. If you're multiplying by 100, there's 2 zeros in it. That means the decimal point is moving 2 spots. So all I need to do is move it over 1, 2 spots. There's nothing here, so we'll put in a 0. So I know that this should be equal to 250 centimeters, which makes sense because if it was 2 meters, that would be 200 centimeters, and 3 meters would be 300 centimeters, and 2.5 is in between 2 and 3, so it would make sense and be reasonable that 2 and 5 tenths, 2.5 times 100 would be in between the 200 and 300. Okay, let's try one more. Okay, so trying one more, and do a little different. Instead of changing it from the larger unit into the small unit, we'll change from the small unit into the larger unit. So if I'm going from a small unit to a larger unit, I should know right away that this number right here should get smaller, right? Because when you're using a larger item, you'll need less of them. So I know that this is going to get smaller. That should be something that I always pay attention to. So we're doing 423 milliliters and turning it into liters. So when we do that, I need to know that there are 1,000 milliliters in every one single liter. So the rule to get from this side to this side would be to divide by 1,000. So I'm doing 423 divided by 1,000. Now I'm going to do the same rule that I just did. When we're doing multiplication or division by 10, 100, or 1,000, we really already know the shortcut of just move the decimal point. Now, some of you always get confused right here and you go, but there is no decimal point. There's always a decimal point. We just normally don't bother writing it. After the ones place, there's always this understood decimal point right there. So I now need to move it. I need to move it 1, 2, 3 spots because it's being divided by 1,000. So the decimal point needs to move 3 spots over. Now, if I move it over this way, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to end up with a very large number. And if I'm using a large number by a very large unit already, it's going to be enormous. I wanted, like we said, for this to get smaller, okay? I'm moving from a little unit to a big unit, so the number needs to do the opposite. If I'm going from a little unit to a big unit, then the number needs to go from a big number to a little number. It does the opposite. So I want this to get smaller, which means the decimal point goes in this direction. 1, 2, 3 spots over to here. So 423 milliliters is actually only 423 thousandths liters. And we are done for today.